Hello there and welcome to Conversations with Desiree and Marianne.
Hello, everybody.
In the previous videos, we showed you the first step in how to do the work, and that's the 4 questions. If you are interested in seeing how that goes, check out the other videos that we did. In this video, we're taking it one step further and looking at what's called the turnarounds. What does that mean, the turnarounds? It's all based on, you start investigating, looking into a thought that you have in a specific situation that gives you stress or fear or madness. And we looked at Desiree's situation. Now, the thought that she has was, Peter is criticizing me. Now, as you all know, every situation you can look at from different angles, and that is what the turnarounds are all about. So let's just see how it goes. Desiree, maybe if you want, close your eyes and once more go back to the situation that you had with Peter. So your website's done, you're ready to celebrate. And in that moment, he was pointing out some mistakes and you thought he's criticizing me. Now, look again at that same situation you already did. Your mind's a bit open. What's the opposite of he's criticizing me?
Well, he's not criticizing me, would be an opposite.
Yeah. So see if you can find one example in that moment, how this thought can be as true or maybe even truer than your original thought. Can you find one?
Well, I guess when we did question 4, I think I already kind of saw that his whole body language and facial expressions were not critical at all towards me. So he was just seeing a mistake and pointing it out to be corrected, right? So the whole, when I looked at him there, the whole body language was definitely not pointing at criticizing me. So that was where the first big, strong awareness came to me that he's actually not criticizing me. So the sentence is not right.
Okay. So that's one example. Mm-hmm. Now, meditate again, look again, same situation. See if you can find another example where this can be true. He's not criticizing me. In which other way could this be true, this turnaround?
Well, I think another insight I've gotten in one of the previous videos was that it's his thing, right? Whenever there's mistakes, you can put any paper in front of him. When there is a mistake in the paper, he'll see it. He has this eagle eye for it. Mm-hmm. So it's his thing that I actually appreciate a lot about him, that I know if he sees a mistake, he's correcting it. Like, he's all about, if you can make something better, do it, right? So it has nothing to do with me. Him finding the mistakes and wanting to correct them is actually just about him and his thing. It has nothing to do with me. So again, if I would then say he's criticizing me as a result of it, that would also not be true, because it's him that has the need to correct. He doesn't correct me, he's correcting the mistake on the website.
Yeah, wow, great.
Yeah, that was a big aha for me.
So you found 2 examples. See if you can find a third, just to make absolutely sure.
Okay.
He's not criticizing you. Yeah. How else could that be true for you?
Well, if I would just look in general in our relationship, in general, sometimes I try new things without recipes. We call it excursions into creative cookery, and they don't always turn out that great. And he's actually really good he's a good sports about it. Like, we choose to eat it or not to eat it, depending how bad it is, but he's never critical of me then. We have a good laugh and we eat it and we maybe decide, let's not cook that again, but it's never in a critical way. Actually, it's even more so, he's actually told me once when I was really low in my life, he said, look, I never wanted you to be any different than who you are. And that's really true. All his actions always point to that, we all have our not so great sides as well, but he's just totally accepting of them. Like, he doesn't want to change me, not even my bad sides. He says, look, I saw you, I knew what I'm getting, and I'm happy with what I got. So he's actually not critical at all. And that's what I love. That's probably why I love him so much, because he's so accepting of who I am.
Right. Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is just one way of turning your original thought around. There's actually another opposite, right? This is just trying a few things out to see what else you can find, why that original thought may not be as true as you thought, or that an opposite is maybe even more true. Now, you can also turn it around in another way. Instead of he's criticizing me, I start with I am.
I'm criticizing him,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually also, which I found out in that process as well, is that in my mind, you know, not verbally in that moment, but in my mind, I was highly critical of him. I was critical of him. I was criticizing him that he didn't help me before. I was criticizing him that he pointed out the mistakes. I was criticizing him in my mind that he didn't celebrate with me when I wanted to celebrate. So I was actually the one doing the bad doing, not him. Like I was actually literally criticizing him in my mind quite strongly in that moment.
Yeah.
So and that's probably also what gave me this discomfort in that moment. It was actually my thoughts that were poisonous in that moment. Mm-hmm.
So this turnaround, is it truer or as true for you as the original one?
If I combine this with the first insight, it's definitely truer because I could not find much evidence that he criticized me, but I know for sure that I did. So, I mean, there's no question that I did.
Yeah. Okay. Now, there's another way of turning this original thought around. It may seem a bit strange. You said he's criticizing me. Who else was criticizing you in that moment? What is a different way of turning it around towards yourself, maybe?
I was criticizing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the whole process through already. Yeah. So I was already full-fledged in the go of criticizing me, of, you know, I'm not capable of doing the website. I'm not good enough as a coach. So I told you my self-esteem was really low at that time when I was a stay-at-home mom and I went back to work after a few years and I started a new business where I was very overwhelmed with at times and unsure about it if I have what it takes to do it. And so I was already in the process of being highly self-critical the whole time. And I guess this is what, you know, if I think I was already criticizing him and then I was as much criticizing myself in this moment that that was sort of like where it all came together. My criticism all came together in this huge thing, and I just kept pointing at him rather than honestly accepting who is pointing. You know, once I've learned when you point a finger out, turn a hand around and you see more fingers point at you, and it's actually, while I was pointing at him, it was actually me doing it all.
Yeah, yeah. So doing this exercise, right? Looking at the same situations from different angles. What did you discover? You already talked about it. What else? What did you see? What did you experience?
Well, I think is this, and it's very close to my coaching, you know, how I do the coaching. It's the same process here. You know, I coach clarity, ownership, action. So first get clarity on the issue and on the surroundings of the issue, and then see what is your part or what could be your part in it. That's the ownership part. And if you have identified those two, the action part comes quite easily. And I think through these looking at the situation, having these questions at the beginning and now looking at it from different sides, it actually always came back to me that I held the power in that moment and I just used it in the wrong way. Like, it was my thinking, it was my interpretation, and it was my doing of it that caused my pain. So if I have all the power of it, I can also choose differently, which is really the idea now that I recognize. It's like understanding I always have the power in each situation. All I need to do is open my mind to look if there's other options. And that is really that is the way to resolve. You are much more on a path to resolve if you can make that step of understanding I have the power and all I need to do is open my mind to look, could it be different, instead of locking into one idea and blocking everything.
Yeah, and that's the invitation that that we do and that the work does, right? Is to open your mind and look again and see where you can, what is your part in this and what can you do about this? So yeah, thank you. So in the next video, we're going back to the same situation that Desiree described in an earlier video. And we're going to look again. We only looked at one thought that she had, the initial thought, he's criticizing me. But in a situation like this, there's like a whole, call it an underworld, right? There's a whole universe of thoughts that are also associated to that first thought, he's criticizing me. And we have a tool for that in the work. There's a tool, it's called the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. And in the next video, we're going to demonstrate how that works for you. So keep your situation at hand, the situation and the thought that you're looking into, and join us in the next video.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you. Bye-bye.